Lately I've been thinking, well, since I have a lot of shitty cases around, why don't I just decide to, mod them? Well, unfortunately, Mum and Dad told me to fuck off with that idea and to only mod one instead of all five. And I said, well, fair enough, it's actually cheaper for me to do that. Either who? Roll the intro, because I'll get into a bit of talking. Oh, hello there, welcome back to the channel. My name is Alex Tech, your host as usual. And before we go anywhere, I do want to quickly say, please, for the love of God, make sure to leave a subscribe. I really do appreciate it if you could. Either way, I'm seeing that my subscribers are indeed growing slowly, and I do appreciate it. So if you are here and you're watching it, make sure to leave a subscribe. Even if you don't watch the video fully, just subscribe. And I appreciate it heaps if you could. So without further ado, let's actually start the video. Now today's video is all about shitting on other people's ideas of what a side window is. I've seen, the popular video of using magnets. I've seen the popular view of using sticky tape. I've seen a popular view of cutting out the freaking metal with a Dremel and then sticking in a piece of acrylic. With all due respect, sir, but do you see that gap? Do you not see that the metal can cut someone? Do you see that that's just such a stupid idea? So what I'm going to be showing you today is very different. We're going to be getting a PVC sheet. Unfortunately, Bunnings sells acrylic, but it's either like that thick and very costly, or that thin and very costly, and it's not see-through. So I decided to just go with the PVC. I think it was $14 Australian, which is quite cheap. It was a pretty big piece as well, and we're just going to go ahead and cut that out and then stick it onto the case. Now I'm going to hop outside, and I'll be showing you exactly what we're going to be doing with me talking as well. So the first step we have to do, of course, is to measure out the case. Now what I did, I flipped my case upside down, I placed it onto it, and then I just traced around the edges. Now the idea behind it is we want to get the entirety of the side of the front of the side panel a brand new acrylic. We're giving it essentially a brand new thing. We're not cutting anything. We're just putting a new acrylic piece on top of it and calling it a day. Nothing too special, nothing too fancy, but it is fancy at the same time. Now, once we've gone ahead and done that, of course, we're gonna grab our Dremel and we start cutting out. Now this took me forever, as I had to do two cuts, because the first one was I was 2 out, and the second one I was 2 out straight either way. So I ended up just sanding the crap out of it, and well, it worked out. It was pretty decent, and it wasn't too shabby at all. Now, and then, of course, I left the plastic on because there's absolutely no way that I'm not gonna, leave the plastic on. As I'll show you at the end of the video, there are a lot of damages on the plastic itself. Imagine if that was the actual PVC. It would have not been nice to look at. So after I've gone ahead and sanded it, which took me freaking ever, I decided to actually start mounting on. So I lined up the two, the corners, make sure they're nice and 90 degrees and whatnot. And then I started, I plotted out 4 dots on where the actual drilling was going to happen, as my case does indeed have, where the ridges actually, your side panel actually slots in. There's like a ridge of metal there, and it has spots where you can actually drill into and actually have metal holding it. So my idea is to use some of these metal screws, which are made on purpose for this type of metal, thin metal sheet. They just hook on and they just hold and don't let go, which is perfect. So we went ahead and just drilled through the plastic. Well, we lined up the plastic, and then we cut through and then we drilled through the plastic and the metal as well. Being careful not to move too much so that we can, actually have a, so it's still in frame, it still looks good. And well, the first cut went all right. So then I decided to enlarge the hole for the plastic, as I don't want the screw actually catching onto the plastic, because what happens if you start screwing into the plastic, then the plastic catches onto it and you can't twist any further, and you want to be able to go into the metal. And what happens if you keep twisting, not only are you going to probably crack the plastic, you're also going to do a shit job, and it's just going to look horrible. All right, that's simply it. So I decided to cut. First of all, make sure that I had the thread already pre-done for the screw, so I screwed it in and whatnot, then I screwed it back out, and then I went in with the plastic and I made a bigger hole so that the threads of the screw don't actually touch, so it's just there. It's basically using the vertical force of the actual threads and the metal together, and that's how we're mounting the plastic onto the thing. So I did that 4 times, and well, the result is actually looking pretty decent. I mean, it's quite a quick job. It's nothing too special, and I have to admit, it looks very nice. Now, any complaints? Not really. Plastic, of course, on the edges where I cut it, it's not exactly perfect. I mean, for Dremel, you can't really do much. But other than that, I mean, it looks pretty good. The PVC is actually quite strong. Like, I was putting my elbow on it while sanding, and it held up. It genuinely held up really well. I'm actually genuinely surprised at how good this PVC stuff is. I never heard of it, and I just saw it there. I was like, wow. So now next episode we will use the side panel, the original side panel of the case. We're going to go ahead and actually cut that out. We're going to then we're going to rivet it into the front of the case, and then we're going to use that to actually put on the fans. And then on top of that, we're also going to be screwing in again, and we're going to be putting the acrylic. The acrylic's going to be in the front as well, just to give it that nice look, and let the LEDs shine through. So that's pretty much it, nothing else, nothing more to do. The case looks absolutely fantastic at this point, it really looks nice. Spray paint will come at the last step. As soon as I cut all the holes out, I've drilled everything, I've done all the mods I want to do, including the vertical GPU mount and whatnot, and that's genuinely it. Alright, that's really all. Thanks for watching. Make sure to leave a like and a subscribe. If you do want to follow along the Shittening series, basically me turning shitty cases into a decent looking case, make sure to subscribe like I already said, and I'll catch you next episode. Not too much, is it? Thank you for watching. This was episode 1, and I'll catch you next time.